with a big crowd. Do you have a booth?
That's why I did it, and I had to limit it. I was like, I can't have fun right now. That's why my self-funded pocket.
You on camera at all?
I have not.
Right, go over.
All right.
You're on camera, so let me just get the crowd here. I just took all that training and all that videos.
And then this information can be fed into a AI assistant, and people who need to be onboarded or learn a new process can just talk to this assistant. And this is very useful for complex software applications like enterprise resource planning, supply chain management, human resource management, pretty much anything that is our on-premises app. This app runs on the system and understands all kinds of events.
Emergency room care. What is bathroom? They are not administered unless the clinical team thinks that the patient needs. But it is enough to say that so many things are going on in the critical care. That's the reason our clinicians are not able to provide the patient outcomes that they are capable of providing. So are you okay so far? Because I don't want to continue if the problem is not understood here. So the problem is this current upcoming AI. So Delphine's product vision is predicting sepsis for patients who are already in the hospital, admitted not for sepsis but for other disease conditions, and provide a quick read to the clinicians. This is our competition as of now. There is a star in third one. That's the only company that received FDA approval. And our product, AI algorithm.
You always want to make sure that in a pitch, the people that you're speaking to understand what the stakes are, which is what you did, I think, in talking about the preventability of sepsis, right? How if it's not prevented, people die, right? So the ability to get in early on that is really important. I would move that up very, very early into your pitch, right? You spent a lot of time telling us about who you are, where you are, and things like that. I'd lead right with, if you knew right now that you could save someone's life, what would you do, right? Like that's a good hook, and that's a good way that you can bring the stakes in early.
Really appreciate the presentation. I thought even the pre-state of the sepsis, the chart, even though it had a lot of information, it actually was quite understandable. So I commend you on that. One piece I would point out is on the financial projections. Am I correct in that quick view we had that revenue begins in 2000?
Put it in Word. I copy paste it into Word and then do like a character count or word count
to make sure it still satisfies my requirements. When I see the initial output, I then push back. It cheats and it gets lazy, especially ChatGPT. So do the other ones too. Let's say I told it to give me a financial statement pro forma. So every startup company has to have like a 3 to 5 year prediction of what your P&L, profit and loss statement, might look like. You're predicting your revenues, the assumptions, your gross profit, expenses, net income or EBITDA, profitability and margins. So you're predicting this for a few years. It'll give me a draft, and then I'll say, like on the expenses, it'll give me like a whole bunch of line items. And I'm like, I don't want that level of granularity. I want all the expenses summarized and categorized in 3 neat buckets. And typically I use these 3 buckets. They're the most effective in a P&L pro forma. Pro forma means draft future projection of your financial statement. I want all the expenses lumped into one of these 3 categories. R&D, so that includes product, engineering, and research and development, making the thing. So in your case, it would be the mortgage underwriting product, the software product. Maybe in energy, it could be a physical embodiment of the product, like a hydrogen battery, for example. In your case, it's probably software or a mobile app, for example. And so I say R&D is the first category. The second one is S&M, sales and marketing. That includes business development, public relations, strategic partnerships, alliances, joint ventures, anything dealing with like selling your thing. So you have someone making it, someone selling it to generate revenue and cash. And then the third category is G&A, general and administrative. That's everything else that's not the first 2. So it includes operations, it includes financial, legal, human resources, all the other elements of your business, right? And then, so it does a nice job in doing that. But what does it give me next? It just gives me those 3 categories and the numbers. It doesn't regenerate everything else that I got it to do up to that point. So it gets lazy. So then I'll say, why did you just give me this? I want the entire output regenerated, or give me the entire output with these changes. Because I don't want to go back and copy paste these 3, copy paste the previous, and then fit it in, figure it all out. I want it to give it to me as one comprehensive output. So it does get lazy, be careful of that. Sometimes it'll drop something great that it did previously because you didn't comment on it or say, I love this. So it gets offended and it drops things. So then I'll say, no, don't, why did you delete that? And then it apologizes. So it's got some sense of humor. It'll say, sorry, I deleted that, I should not have. Here's the output with that included. And I'll say, don't delete anything without my express instructions to delete. So then I tell it, stop deleting things. Give me the entire output every time. The reason it's not designed to do that is because there's a lot of energy consumption and capital expenditures on their back end to generate this for 100 million users every hour. And so it starts taking shortcuts. So be careful of that because you'll lose out on some critical piece of information. So I will tell it, don't delete anything in the iterations. Give me the entire output, but make it even more compelling. Make it even more professional, more advanced, more detailed than before. So each iteration I have to remind it to make it more compelling than previous. So that helps. Now if you love some component of the output, let it know. I love number 3. Oh, the other thing I do is I ask it to number the sections of the output. So when I give it feedback, I can say, I love number 2. So great job. Why don't you improve the other sections to the same level of output? So now it knows your preference and kind of your bias towards things. So all of these things collectively really help in getting to an optimal outcome. So then I hit enter, the first draft comes out. In building a business, it's usually give me ideas. So I use it as a brainstorming sparring partner. And I'll give it a framework. So what kind of brainstorming? There's a technique in brainstorming called NGT, nominal group technique. So I might say, use the nominal group technique of brainstorming to ideate, and then give me some ideas. And then I'll tell you which ones I like, which ones I understand. If I don't understand them, I'll ask you to elaborate, and then go through 2 or 3 iterations until it gives me 5 or 10 ideas. That's usually sufficient to pick one and say, okay, I like idea number 4. Let's run with that. And so now you have an idea. What's the next step in building sound startup company or a small business? You have an idea. What's the next step? Yes?
Product.
Before you get to product, there's an intermediary step that many startup founders miss or skip, and it costs them a lot of time and money. Before the plan.
The legal?
Before the legal.
Customer and market.
Good, close, someone said it. Discovery. It's called stakeholder discovery and validation of your idea. So that's usually the next set of prompts that I create. So now I have an idea. It could be any one of the 4 ideas that you guys mentioned. And let's say it gave it to me or I gave it the idea. And then I would say, I need to do stakeholder discovery and validation.